Gentleman, Arizona is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It was reported that on May 15th, you completed a draft of the report that we're discussing today, and then you circulated all of it or portions of it to various individuals, Mr. Comey, McCabe, Loretta Lynch, Lisa Page, Peter Strzok. Were there others that received the portions of that draft?
So individuals who provided voluntary testimony, whose conduct is critiqued in here, as a matter of fairness, and we do this in every single review we do, we change no practices here. We give them a chance to come in as a matter of fairness to tell us if they think we got it wrong or to give us additional evidence if they think we missed something.
Right.
And
So
that's
I appreciate that. You testified to that earlier today. So
Yes.
I'm wondering, did you give it to anyone else other than those people I just named?
Yes, so
Okay.
the individuals in here who you see's conduct was critiqued, we would give it to them, and as a matter of course, every IG does this, we
Sure.
give it to the department.
And that would be like
and the
so you
component.
gave it to, and I don't mean to interrupt, but we only have 5 minutes.
Yes.
I've been waiting for hours. You've been very good here, being many hours, but you've got to at least talk, and I haven't got to do that till just now, and I live to talk. So so I guess what I'm asking is, did you give it to Prosecutor 1, Agent 1? They all got it, right? So did they respond? Did
Some
these people?
did, some didn't.
Okay. And I guess my question at this point is, we've sent you a letter asking for copies of the original draft, any alterations made, edits, red lines, and hope that we can get that from you. I want to go to, is there a chance we're going to get any of that information from
What
you?
I'd like to do is we normally do, and I like to do, is engage with you and the
Perfect.
committee about it. I understand the concern. I want to talk it through with you and the other members who signed the letter and the chairs and the ranking member and have a candid discussion about it.
Love to do that. We can do that offline.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So you testified earlier this morning when Mr. Jordan from Ohio first questioned you. He took several hits at you. You must have felt like a pinata. Don't feel bad.
Not at all.
I get that all the time. That Peter Strzok led the the Hillary Rodham Clinton, the investigation into her emails. You remember saying that?
Yes.
Okay. And then on page 148 of your report, you mentioned the critical roles that both Strzok and Page played in most of the decisions made by the FBI, right?
Correct.
Fair statement. And
Yes.
And so Lisa Page's duty was she was advising the Deputy Director Andrew McCabe legally, and from reading this, I get the impression that on a lot more than legal, she's given me perhaps even some strategic information and advice as well and counsel. And as you just said, Mr. Strzok, he basically led the investigation, and he was acting in some ways through that chart of order. He's kind of the liaison between all the other analysts and the decision makers. But he is kind of in the decision maker because he's always there, the decision making body. He's given inputs, and that's what I want to talk about today. We've been talking about bias a lot, and everybody walks in with bias, and you have to be able to set it aside. But in this particular thing, the output, and the way you phrased it, and you've been very careful as you've answered today, and in this report, you said the bias of these people did not directly affect the outcome. But I'm here to suggest to you that inputs affect outcomes. The outputs come on. So when you have this very notion of these people, for all we know, they're filtering information. We don't know anything really what's going on in the decision-making process. You can't recreate it, but we know that there's certain outputs, and those outputs point to Hillary Clinton's not going to be charged. The biases that are reflected by these two people who have extraordinary inputs seems to indicate that they could have impacted those outputs. Am I wrong on that? I view what you've said here. So what I want to say is, could they have indirectly affected the outcome here?
It could have, and we don't rule it out. And frankly, I think what you have a right to expect from us is this kind of report, laying out the facts so that you and every member and every person in this country can make their own assessment.
Well, I will say in my last minute, my last second, that you've written a report that the other folks that disagree with me will say that, see, there was no bias here. You know, if there was any bias, it was against Hillary Clinton. And people on my side look at it and say, you got people working here in the highest levels who appear to have been controlling and the inputs that are going into the decision-making process. And that indicates that the ultimate output may indeed have been biased. Thank you. I have no further time.
Gentleman from Arizona yields back. The gentleman from Florida is recognized.